Welcome to Bible Time. This is the Thursday edition as we go through the Believers Fellowship daily Bible reading. And today we come to two more Psalms, Psalm 137 and 138. Two very interesting Psalms. And the first Psalm, Psalm 137, it's a sad song. It's a sad song of the exiles as the people of Israel were in Babylon. And the first three verses, they're kind of grieving the consequences of their sin, which landed them in exile. And they talk about their captors and their tormentors who are mocking them, saying, hey, sing us some of your songs, and they're going, how can we do that? And they're remembering Zion. Zion, that's a name for Jerusalem, particularly the area of the Temple Mount, the temple, the presence of God. They're remembering what they had, and they are grieving with where they are now. And in verses 4 through 6, they make a commitment. We're not forgetting Zion again. And they even pronounce curses upon themselves if they ever do, if they don't set Jerusalem above their highest joy. Now that might sound strange to you, but Jerusalem is God's city. Jerusalem is where God's temple was. Jerusalem is where God's presence abided with the people of Israel. And so that's what gives it the significance by saying that they are going to set Jerusalem above their highest joy. That's in essence saying we're going to set God above our highest joy. And so here they are, they're grieving the consequences of forgetting what they had, taking it for granted, disregarding God, and they're resolving that we're not going to do that again. And then in verse 7, it takes an interesting twist because now it's pronouncing judgment upon their enemies. It mentions the Edomites who kind of cheered on the Babylonians as they destroyed Jerusalem, and it calls out for judgment on Babylon as well. And they're recognizes the inevitable and just wrath of God on those nations that disregard him. And so the psalmist is calling upon God to do that. And verse 9 might be shocking to you. Blessed shall he be who takes your little ones, Babylon, who takes your little ones and dashes them against the rocks. What? How can that be a godly attitude? Well, I think you need to think about what's being said here. I mean, it's talking about wrath coming upon a nation, and that could be just a picture of this. They're going to be completely wiped out, and eventually that is what happened. They're going to be completely wiped out. Or it could be by talking about their little ones. It could be talking about their descendants. This is maybe going to happen in their lifetime, but their descendants are going to pay the consequences of Babylon's sin. And so it's a call for justice. And so it's an interesting psalm where they're grieving the consequences of their own sin and calling upon God to bring wrath against the sins of Edom and Babylon. And that's what God does. And so it's a call for wholehearted attention to God. Psalm 138 has a little different tone. It's thanks for God's faithfulness. Even though here you can tell David writing this, he's in a difficult time. But thanks for God's faithfulness. It's a call to thank God with the whole heart. And it's because of his steadfast love and his faithfulness. There's that word again, his steadfast love. And I like this statement in verse 3. And boy, is this an encouragement to call out to the Lord, to bring all of your requests to him, cast all your cares upon him. Because it says in verse 3, on the day I called, you answered me. My strength of soul you increased. That's what God will do. He'll strengthen your soul as you look to him and give thanks to him, even in difficult times, thanking him for his steadfast love and his faithfulness. And verses 4 through 6 talk about a future time, a future kingdom, a time when all the kings of the earth will hear and will worship. There's coming a time when Christ is going to rule on this earth, and all the nations are going to worship and serve him, at least those who humble themselves. He'll give regard to the lowly, but the haughty it won't go well for them, because as verse 7 and 8 talk about, God will bring wrath against his enemies, but deliverance to his people. And how do we know that that's going to happen? Because the steadfast love of the Lord endures forever. What a great word for us on a Thursday, to remember the steadfast love of the Lord that endures forever. Nobody's getting away with anything. We can look to him with confidence in our deliverance, and that he will do what's right. So hold on to those words. Keep trusting in his steadfast love. We'll see you tomorrow for more Bible time.